Testing. Testing. There we go. Make sure the screen's up. Come on, wakey wakey. Come on. Be there in a second. See if that works. Oh dear. It's going to do this to me. There we go. Okay. Good evening. Oh, come on. We had it for a minute. Just gotta get it back again. Don't know why it does this. Oh, there we go. Okie dokie. So what we're going to cover tonight is we are going to cover Kafka. Probably helps if I bring up what is Apache Kafka? I'm just going to hang out for a minute and give a chance for people to join. Consumer process, while true. That should be cancellation token. Token async. Oh, that can be that. That can be this. And then bool commit on consume equals false. Can be that. Good evening, Agent Coder. How are you? How was your Sunday? If commit on consume. I never committed, that's why. That's the bug. Okay. Okay, cool. Source.token. Okay, so what I'm trying to do right this second is just kind of organize my not very well optimized application. It was a good Sunday. Nice. That is the best. So what I've done is I have true a auto commit false, auto commit and consume. Yeah, no, that is right. Consumer process commit on consume while not commit on consume. And then that does need to be false. Okay. So let me go over the general process I'm thinking through right now. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is a not very well optimized but sample distributed system where I can show that messages representing objects are passed around and used in various forms throughout the system. Apache Kafka can be used in a variety of ways, and at its core it was created as a distributed log system. So as things were changed, they were distributed, and anything that cared about those things was consumed and handled. It is not necessarily representing events, right, in its purest form. I think there are now paths towards making it eventing, but I kind of like the distributed logging format of it. So I'm saying this object is published. Anybody who who wants this object can take this object and twist it and maneuver it any way they want and make it what they want. So Kafka is capable of many different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write an application where product development is the start of our process. Product development, we create a product and we pass that, or we don't pass that directly to marketing, but we publish the product. Marketing is a consumer of the product. At the point marketing receives it, it should then publish it once it's updated the right information, and manufacturing will consume that version of the product. Similarly, retail will consume that version of the product because they know that it's coming. And when items are manufactured, when it's available stock, retail can make inventory available. When a sale happens, retail will publish the sale, and marketing can listen to the sale and say, oh, a sale happened. I can record some data about it. so future marketing of efforts can go forward. Now, I did just say that eventing isn't the way I'm using it, but you can infer a lot from a document being created, from an object being created, right? So you can infer that because this topic published this, that this happened. You don't need to have this specific action happened. So that's the way I'm going to build this out this evening. Now, I could take products and put them in manufacturing and say, okay, they need to know about the products, but manufacturing doesn't care about them until we're ready to sell them. So, yeah. And these are not good boundaries. This is not good domain-driven design. This is just a general flow that we're going to try and get working. So what I've worked on this afternoon is building out the basics of those pieces, making sure some of the stumbling blocks are generally over with some basic applications. So it's taken me about 3.5 hours to configure those pieces. So marketing, product development is the start of our system, right? And what I've written is I've written some basic console stuff to track creating menus and stuff and access them. And I've introduced MongoDB and I've introduced Kafka. So I'm just going to drop this database. And drop this database. And what I'm not trying to show here is a good example of an application, right? I'm not trying to make this a useful application basis. I'm more trying to get some concepts in here. So what I've done in this instance is let's call this configure. And then we have a publisher. The publisher is the Kafka publisher. And I've created core classes for these, for both the publisher and the consumer inside the core application. And then I start listening to the menu and I await that menu. Right, so I can actually go there. That doesn't matter there. And that's just to keep it in a loop of asking the question. Mongo configuration. This is kind of microservices. So each one of these objects, each one of these areas is its own database, right? So I'm kind of keeping some boundaries as I go. And when I add a new product, which is my only option right now, I add a product, I publish the product. My marketing system, I have the configuration. I start listening to topics, and in here I'm just listening to the products. And when I get a product, I'm going to come and I'm going to add it to the storage. And then I'm going to offer list products. So if I go here and I say, where is it? Here, I go to properties and I say start multiple projects. I say start product development and marketing. Product development has to start first. Marketing can start second. Right? And then I hit F5. What we should see is two console applications start up. So you have marketing. And in marketing, I'm going to say 0. No products available. In here, I'm going to add a product. So I'm going to have widget 1. Widget 1 description. And a category, it's going to be a toy. Right? Then I get back to the menu. Now I go here. This has happened because the messages from previous runs were entered. So just to prove that, I'm going to add another product. I'm going to call this a transformer. It's going to be an Optimus Prime, and it's going to be another toy. And now when we go here again, we have Transformer Optimus Prime. Now there's no direct link between these two things. It is purely Kafka. This consumer listens for this topic, and this produces to that topic. So if I use this tool is a free tool as long as you're not using it commercially. But it's the most useful tool I've seen so far. So if I hit play, I have 4 messages because they're from before. But here's the 2 I just created. Now I can't inspect them because they are encoded binary, not binary, the byte encoded strings. So I can't look at them in the actual in-flight. The difference between Kafka and a normal messaging system is Kafka will keep all its previous messages up to a certain retention point. So when you're using something like end service bus, right? When the thing that's going to consume a message consumes that message, it's gone, right? There is no, oh, I really wanted that message, let me have it back. There is only that message. Right, so yeah, Kafka can keep them. It'll retain them for quite a long time. And we have consumer, and the way that Kafka tracks which message has been processed is it keeps track of the offset into the queue, which is why I got the second one as well as the first one, because I had a previous message that I hadn't consumed. So let's go back here. Let's open up our topics so we can go and look at our databases. So we have a marketing database and a product development database, right? So in our product development database, when we added a product, we come here and we can see widget 1 description and Optimus Prime, or widget 1 and Transformer, right? These are our 2 products, right? And in our marketing system, we can see our 3 products because it consumed another message from a previous run, but you can see the 2 new messages that came in. Okay. Now these IDs are Mongo IDs. They're unique, and this ID is the ID of the source. It's not ID of it's this ID, right? And the only reason I'm doing that is to keep track of these as different things, but be able to track back if I publish another document that is for some other reason. I might not need this ID other than to correlate an update to a product or something maybe. But you can see on here we have target demographics and SKUs, right? So these are things that would be added because marketing might target them differently, right? It might need more information. So marketing is going to add its own twist on what a product is because the marketing department has a different need. So we can add another product, and again product development, and let's say we're going to add the egg timer. Kitchen utensils. Kitchen category kitchen. I don't need to be that distinct. And again, we could go here. We now have the egg timer. Right, so we have 4 products now. And if I just refresh these, I'm still getting used to using Mongo Compass. I haven't used it before. But you can see all the information came across. We've got our new versions of the objects. Everything's great. All of these are running in Docker, by the way. So I followed a tutorial on how to get Kafka and Zookeeper working in Docker, so that I didn't have to have these up on my machine all the time. Because of its nature, a messaging system is going to be pretty heavy on your disk, right? So I don't want these tools running. I don't want to be worried about them checking. I don't want messages going back and forth. So once I'm done with this demo, I can shut these down and not worry about them again. The way it works is Zookeeper is the thing that sits in front of all your Kafka system, right? Oh, wow. Welcome. Thank you very much for the raid. How did the stream go, Mike? Cool. Give people a minute. Oh well, got a blog post published in what time? Blog about it. Nice. Welcome all. I was in and out of your stream. I saw that you were working on the overlays and stuff. So Vulkan's obviously going very well. So productive day, I hope. Okay, so let me introduce what I'm working on. So I am working on a Apache Kafka demonstration project. I need to discuss this with one of my teams and go through some samples. Never productive on stream. So what I'm trying to do is develop a sample application that will walk through creating producers and consumers in Apache Kafka in some very basic, very badly thought out demonstration application. So what I've done, I need to remember to do this, right? Oh no, this doesn't do well with that. Is I've got to turn this back. So the idea of the application is that product development will produce a product, marketing would listen to that topic and be able to deal with the product in the way it needed to deal with it. Then it will publish the product to manufacturing and to retail, so retail could be prepared for it at the same time as manufacturing are producing it. And when manufacturing produces it, retail can consume it. And then retail can notify marketing of sales, and marketing can notify product development of any flaws or problems or whatever with the launch. So I don't know how far I'll get through all these different lines in this demonstration. But in preparation, I did some basic stub out application stuff, so I could start from a running start. All right. There's a lot of wire up and a lot of basic configuration that's necessary to just get off the ground, and I didn't feel that was worth streaming. I can go through it, but it's not the most important component. Okay, so the idea is that the product development tool, I can go in and add a product, and we'll call this widget 3, and this will be the widget 3 description, right? And this belongs in the gardening category. And when we add the product, we add that to a MongoDB, but we also add it into Kafka. And then Kafka, the consumer, is set up in the marketing system to consume the topic products, right? And then this adds this. So in our product development, ignore boilerplate stuff. When we add a new product, we store it to Mongo, and then we publish the same product out. Kafka has a concept of topics, and a topic can be produced or consumed, right? So in this case, in this instance, the product development tool is the publisher, right? So it's producing the message for product, and the marketing system is the consumer here. So it is consuming the message, and there's consumers are grouped so that you can have many consumers and scale out, right? You can consume the message from many pieces, but as long as they're in the same group, Kafka will allocate the right, only one consumer in a group can receive the same message. right? So that you don't end up with two systems trying to process the same message at the same time. So this is the publishing, and really from an actual Kafka perspective, this is all it takes to publish something, right? There's more configuration options and stuff, but this is the basics. So with Kafka, you get a producer builder, you set the serializer, which is how it serializes the object coming into it, and then you produce async on the topic. Now I've just used the same collection name that I use in Mongo as my topic, right? Just to try and keep it tidier. And then you just produce that message. In the consumer, right, and I go here, consumer is a little bit more involved because I created something to create a consumer process here, but essentially it's the same thing. You create a consumer, you tell it how to deserialize what's coming, and then you subscribe to the topics you actually want to consume. And there can be many of these, so there actually can be many. A consumer can actually process many different types of object. In this case, I've just told it what it's actually going to consume directly, and that's why I wrapped it up in this class. Consumer consume, and when we get a message, we can process that out and deal with it. Kafka also has the concept of not auto-committing. So by default, the moment you consume, it will mark that message as processed, which is great if you are certain that you're good to go. But if you want to make sure that this process hasn't failed and that you don't need to you might want the message back, then you can commit later, which just says, okay, I've got this one, let's move on. So this is some basic boilerplate around the consumer and producer pieces. But in the consumer, really what we do is we say, okay, we're going to consume the topic, all right, products, and when we get a message consumed for products, then handle it. And in the handle of that, we literally just say, okay, add this to Mongo now. Right, so we're just storing this product. And then we have list all products, which just, as you just saw, lists all the products. Right. Okay. So that's the basic behavior between the two systems. You're going to fail. You're not going to fail. Okay. Let's do product category. And again, I'm not trying to make this a very involved application. The idea is to kind of show some concepts and demonstrate it a little bit without going too much into here's some great software design, here's a good example of a distributed system. Essentially, these all behave as microservices in that they have their own databases. The data is completely separate from one another. So here we have my reasoning was I'm using this for work, and the reasoning there was I didn't need a complex eventing system because the data that I'm producing doesn't have events as such. It was more, here's the data, you need to do with it what you will, because it might be that you need to action something when you get a new thing. It might be that you need to just record it and store it, or you need to store it in multiple places. It was more about offering the flexibility and decoupling systems that were at one time, or are currently, extremely coupled, in that we have systems that query our database, which might not matter if you're an internal system, but the problem is that one product now has schema dependency on another product, and If you want to change the schema for performance reasons, for design reasons, you can't do that without a colossal effort and development of two systems. So what I'm trying to do is move towards a world where we publish a thing, that thing is consumed by whoever cares about the thing. That way, the thing that publishes most of the data is independent of everybody else, right? As long as we guarantee we'll publish this data in this form, because it is always going to look like that, then it doesn't matter how we store our data in the actual database. We can change, we can flex, we can do more with it. Previously, I worked with Service Bus, and in Service Bus is great as long as you're dealing with commands and handlers and events as a whole. It makes more sense. Kafka has been used for events stuff. It wasn't built to do that initially, but I think it has been flexed to do that, and I've yet to explore all those features. But yeah, the reasoning primarily was the need to distribute data. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue adding some of the functionality into these programs to then flex this idea and kind of show through. So in the marketing system now, we have obviously the product, right? And we can see that in here, right? So we have in marketing products, we have our list of products. Now what we need to do is say, okay, let's set some target demographics and create some SKUs of these, and then let's produce them for manufacturing and retail. So we're going to add in some business logic. And it's going to look kind of rough because I'm not trying to create these as perfect examples again. This will end bad. The cancellation token stuff's not perfect. I need to do more, but yeah. Okay, so list all products. Now what we need is to create a new menu item, which is name configure product, right? And this will just be a private static async task configure product. And here we're going to kind of, I've wrapped Mongo in a data store thing. It's not necessarily required, but for now I'm going to continue doing it. I just didn't want to repeat the Mongo pieces again and again and again. I'd rather just say, okay, here's a configuration, go with it. We need a task t entity get, and this is going to take an expression func t entity. I think that's it. That should verify. Where t entity is class. So with Mongo, when you actually ask for an object, you actually have to tell it which collect, with a C# driver at least, you have to tell it which collection name it's going to. So you give it a string when you actually get the collection, and this is just a wrapper that I created so that I can put a collection name attribute on the object, and then I don't have to worry about. So I can just do that collection name products. All right. So here we're just going Mongo data store. We're going to do collection.find one find async. And this takes a filter definition. It doesn't take that anymore. Yeah, it does take this. Yeah. And that's bool. Expression. Let's call that filter. Let's do first or default async. Right. So we're just trying to get one. And the way we're going to do that is, how are you going to do that? We're going to do, let's say, as much as I don't like doing this, product ID. So I'm going to do console.writeLine console.writeLine await list products. So we need to console.writeLine console.write enter a product ID. Not the most user-friendly method of doing this, but string ID equals console reline, and then var product equals await store.get product p goes to p dot id dot id equals id. Wrong one. So because I'm all in the same class, there's what I've done is I split out what I consume from what I store, because I'm calling them both product, right? Because to me they're a product. To the marketing system, this is a product as well. The product development system, this was a product, but they are different representations of the same object. Now, again, I'm not trying to create a good domain model here. I'm not trying to get into the semantics of naming, so that might not be very realistic, but I'm just kind of trying to show the same thing being represented in different forms. Okay, so we're going to get product, and if product not equal to null, then console.writeLine enter target demographics string demographics equals console.readline enter SKUs. I was right line. So Mongo works in updates. This is going to be messy. This is where Mongo always kicks me in the backside. Because updating something in Mongo isn't as simple as saying, hey, take this object that I just pulled from you and take it back with its new version. Mongo asks you to tell it what changed so that it doesn't send too much data. So if you've got a big object, Mongo will only send a patch for the fields that changed, not the full thing again. And I've never quite worked out what the right way to do this is, because ultimately what I want to do here is product dot it should be storage product. That's what I was getting to before. So this is a object ID, and I don't know if I can do this. Object ID dot parse. Yeah, I can. We're going to assume that works for right now. The worst happens if I type it wrong, it breaks. It's fine. So if I do product now, I'll have target demographics equals demographics.split on comma product dot skews equals skews dot split on comma, and then we have to update it. So a Mongo update works like so. Update t entity var collection equals database.get collection t entity, the class, and type of t entity.get collection name, and then collection.update one. So you can do find and update one. Find one and update takes a filter, but it still takes a filter. It's blah blah blah. It still takes an update definition. An update definition is what changed on the entity, so you still need to do that no matter what you do. So var update equals update definition builder t entity dot builders update. There we go. Dot set. So this is where it gets difficult, because this is the thing that I can never figure out how to abstract away from Mongo properly, because you have to know about Mongo to know this properly, right? Now, in this instance, it's not really a big problem. I'm clearly aware I'm using Mongo here, but I'm not abstracting it quite the way. This was more to create helper methods rather than it was to create a true wrapper around Mongo. But I can't abstract the fact that I'm using Mongo without some significant effort. And what this does is it sets, right? So f goes to f dot, what is it? Oh, field is that should be, it doesn't know what t entity is there, so builders dot update. Oh, because I don't know what t entity is, right? Okay, yeah, that's why I'm being dense. So if I do this, update definition of t entity, then that's not too bad, but it's still expression func t entity bool filter and update definition. So now what this means is here I'm going to end up with I don't need this basically, because what I'm going to do is do store.update, and this is going to be storage product. F goes to F dot ID equals object ID dot parse ID, and then builders storage product dot update dot set F goes to F dot target demographics is going to be demographics dot split comma, and then dot set F dot skews, it's going to be skews dot split comma. That's what it doesn't like there. Remove redundant type arguments. Oh, because it knows this. It's inferred this from there. Okay. Okay, so basically now we can go and run these again. This may or may not work. If we go to marketing now, we have configure product. So we have that. And we're going to update that with that. Enter target demographics, young adults, adults, seniors, enter skews, default. Let's go check that out and see if it worked. That did not work, did it? Oh, it did. It did. There we go. Hey, Ironside. Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, whichever one it is for you. How's it going? Yes, good day. There we go. Good day, sir. Okay. So we've updated the target demographics and skews, right? But that's not what we really wanted to do. What we need to do now is publish that, right? So when we've updated, we also want to publish. We actually do want to make publishing separate, because you might want to work on a product, configure it, publish product, publish product. Right. Nice. Okay. So now this is going to look similar. Async task, publish product. We're going to do this part the same exact way. And then what we're going to do is do this part the same exact way. But then we're going to turn around. We need a publisher now. So now what is our consumer currently becomes also a publisher to the system, right? So in our diagram, which I will size down to try and make, no, I can't do that because why would we make that easier? Product development produces a product, marketing is going to produce a product, and manufacturing is going to consume that and retail will consume that. So we're going to need a new consumer very soon as well. So to create a publisher, producers produce, consumers consume. I'm using the word publisher. I'm not sure why. Oh, because I didn't want to wrap a consumer, a publisher, yeah, not quite sure. I should have called it producer, but it stayed closer. Holy crap. Lana, thank you very much. Thank you for the follow, Mavis. Mavis Games, I assume? Okay. Thanks for the follow, Ian Fletcher. Thank you, Lana, for the raid. Appreciate it. Not quite as exciting as things you work on, but okay. So welcome all. Thank you for the follow, Zero Fever. Thank you for the follow, Lana. Appreciate them. Very much so. Okay, I should introduce what I'm working on. So this evening's stream is dedicated to an idea more than an actual product. I have a need to demonstrate something. Thank you very much, Lana. Take care. Have a good rest of your evening. So what I'm working on is a proof of concept application just to try and flesh out some ideas to demonstrate Apache Kafka at its core. Right. So Kafka, if you've not seen it before, is a product created by LinkedIn. So Kafka was created to solve the problem of distributing logs across many systems. The way it works is you create producers and you create consumers. Producers produce topics, okay, and consumers can consume the topics. So a producer has messages published to topics, and consumers consume from those topics. If you need to have an object dealt with across many systems at once, and you just have some data about it, then you could deal with it in a variety of ways. You could alert people to things. You could do things. It's not eventing as such. It's not a message bus in its purest form. It has been used for doing message buses since, but it started off as a way to distribute data. And what I'm doing is creating a sample application to show how just distributing data can produce a similar effect to the message bus system, but all I'm going to do is publish objects that I'm then going to consume and do my own thing with. So what I'm doing right now is setting up an extra piece to publish a product. So the way it works currently is, if I start the system up, I have the concept of a product development system, and this is dealt with here, and I can add a product, and just to show, I can list products here, and I see, okay, kitchen utensils, widgets, transformers, egg timers, widgets, right? And I can add a new product, and oops, name 0, testing product, and it's in the category of mistakes. And when that does its thing, I can go here and I can see, hopefully, oh, I ran the wrong thing, that's why I did that. Let's start that up again. list all products. Okay, I have mistakes, right? So these two applications are not linked by a database. These two applications are linked purely by this is a publisher and this is a consumer of the products topic, right? So I can publish the topic. I can't look at the data in here. Thank you for the follow, Zano. I can look at the fact that there are messages in here. I just cannot look at the messages because they're encoded. And I have the marketing consumer, and Kafka keeps track of which message it processed last. I know this is very different to game dev, so if there's anything that anyone wants to know, please feel free to ask. I'm doing this to discuss it, not to actually say here's how to do this. And then again, I'm not trying to write an application that it's going to be used for very much. So what I've been working on right now is configuring the products. So the marketing system is going to have more data. So a product development system might just say, okay, I have a thing and it looks like this and it acts like this. We're good to go. So it publishes the product, right? The marketing system is going to say, okay, now we need to deal with how do we market this thing? Who are we targeting with this thing? You know, all these things. And I know this isn't truly representative of a real product flow, but it serves a purpose. The marketing system is then going to add extra information to that. Who's it targeted at? You know, any of other information we might want to do. How are we going to package it? We're going to package it as a special edition, or we're going to package it this way. And when the marketing system is ready to say, hey, this product is good to go, we can sell this thing, it's going to publish that product, and manufacturing is going to pick it up, and retail is going to pick it up. And retail can then do prep for the product, and manufacturing can start building the product. When manufacturing has built the product, it can publish there's products available as far as there's a stock, right? And retail can consume that, and then retail can say, okay, I've got the details of these objects, I've got the manufacturing of these things, I'm good, I can actually sell this product. And then when we sell a product in retail, we can also publish that, and marketing can pick that up and use that for metrics, etc. Okay, so even though I'm not using Kafka as an event system, the thing I'm publishing objects that represent this is data, right? I can infer quite a lot from just those simple messages, those simple objects, right? So if I publish a sale object from this, marketing can infer what it wants from that. Other systems could listen to that, right? A finance department could listen to that and know that a sale occurred, right? You can infer a lot from it without it being a direct, a sale was made, a refund was made, right? So I'll be using the topics to kind of represent the behavior, right? But they are not events, they're just data that's published. Okay, so let's go here and let's do list products is going to do, this works easier, this works much better with the spacing either side of it, easier to read. I don't have to do that then every time, because listed products will always be separate. So publishing, we need to configure our publisher. Right. So I already have the configuration set up for the consumer, right? But it's also, this is all that's needed really for the publishing side of things. Each of these options can be set up and passed in for certain options exist only for one or the other, consumer or producer. I think it's going to ignore it though, if I just pass in the things that it doesn't matter about. So I'm going to say publisher equals new publisher, and then I'm going to do configuration, get options, Kafka options. I think I did this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to say publisher dot publish product. Now this is going to break a little bit, mainly because I already have a topic called products, right? So this isn't going to work anymore, right? So I'm going to put string topic equals string.empty equals null, actually. We'll take topic. And again, I'm not trying to say that this is the best code you'll ever see. I'm not trying to write the best code I'll ever write. What I'm trying to do is just get some very simple concepts across without overthinking too much. So we're going to call this marketing products. All right. You can what's the word? Partition. And I think that might be a way of doing this where there's still the products thing, but the different partitions. I think that might work, but I haven't investigated Kafka enough to do that. So I'm going from, I've used Kafka for several months and I've got the basics down. There's a whole lot more to learn before moving forward. So here I'm going to publish to the marketing products. So when I publish the object, we should see it appear in a different topic. Okay. Okay. So now we have list products, right? So we have kitchen utensils category, testing products. So let's do publish product. Enter a product ID. So we'll do that one. So we're going to insert testing product in the mistakes category as an object. Right? And if that worked, we will see a topic appear here, marketing topics. Our marketing products, right? And it'll have one value in it. There we go. Okay. So we now have publishing working for something else to pick up. Right? So let's start with manufacturing, and then we'll add in retail afterwards. So we go to manufacturing, empty project so far. Now I'm going to really pull pieces out of this product, out of this tool, to try and build this as quickly as I can without spending too much time with configuration and fiddling around with code. I'm going to copy the app settings JSON. No, I just hit F5. I'm just going to make sure that's copying still, yeah. And this is going to be manufacturing. If I accidentally put this in the marketing category, this service will start and it will go into the consumers of the marketing category. And what it will mean is it will consume the topics because I've got the manufacturing topics handled, right? The marketing products handled in there anyway. But if it was to consume products, it wouldn't ever consume products because there'd be two two consumers consuming the in the same group, right? So if we were ever to make this link, right, and I accidentally left this in the same consumer group ID as this object, right, this would break, because then this would consume it or this would consume it. They would not both get it. Kafka would handle it out, right? So it's very important to make sure that the group ID that your consumer is going into is set correctly, right? And again, I have enabled auto commit set to false because I don't want to commit this message the moment I receive it. I only want to commit the message if I'm happy that I've consumed it properly. An auto offset reset goes back to the beginning of the topics queue, so that when I start this up, even if a message is coming, so when a Kafka client starts, it says, okay, what was the latest topic ID? Okay, the latest message ID on the topic, it was there. Okay, I'll wait for the next one to come in. If you say earliest, it'll go back in time and reset back to the beginning. Okay, so let's go into our manufacturing, and we have our program here, which is empty. And we're going to pull a lot of this out, right? Let's do this. I'm going to continue the same. Start listening to the topics. We'll go through that in a second. Config we want that one, right? Okay. We need consumer product models, storage models. So the object stored in storage here in products, right, is now going to become my consumed model here, right? There is a tool called Apache Avro, which sits on top of Kafka and allows the schema to be published with the messages. That assists in the right now. If I was the consumer of this topic, right, and I wasn't working with the same team that was the publisher of this topic, I'm going to say to them, hey, can I have the object definition of the topic? With Avro in there, you can say, okay, go to the topic and consume and get that information. Thank you for the follow, the Quantum Blaze. So you can, get the schema coming through on Avro. So we're going to call this product again. All right. And again, you might be, it might be possible to pick apart the name product, right? What I consider a product might not be correct, but it's, yeah. At this point, yeah. In terms of .NET Framework 4.8, there's not so much in terms of the tools you're going to use, but there's definitely performance improvements, and some of the tooling is a lot nicer to work with now in .NET Core. And obviously you got cross-platform, right? So yeah, there's at this stage, yeah, there's quite a difference. EF Entity Framework, if you used it, that has changed completely, because EF Core is a complete rewrite of Entity Framework, for good or bad. Let's do that. We're going to remove these for right this second. We don't need the menu items. We do need these. my marketing products, right? Is what I did. Yeah, marketing products. Is there much difference code-wise? Like I've been programming a while. Will it take me long to get through? No, not really. Hey, Mr. Anhorn. No, I mean, .NET Core is, from a coding perspective, there's not much difference, right? There's a good amount of speed. There's some concepts that are a little easier with ASP.NET Core. Configuring with .NET Core 3 as well. If you do any service stuff, worker services are in .NET Core 3, so that's much easier to deal with. But no, you should be fine as far as moving into .NET Core. I don't need the publisher right this second, so I'm going to comment the publisher out. Okay, and then I need my Mongo store, so I'm going to do that. So private Mongo data store, and then configure. We configure the store. It needs to be static. That needs to be marketing products. So we're going to consume the products. Okay, so this project is really a demonstration for my team, combined with just an excuse to do this on stream. What I'm trying to do is show Apache Kafka used to distribute messages and to consume multiple messages to resolve one thing. So in the case of retail here, marketing plus manufacturing equals thing to sell. The idea is I'm just kind of showing the individual pieces, publishing messages, consuming messages, storing them. So each of these is essentially a microservice, in so much as, okay, there's each one has its own database. So product development has products and marketing has products, but they are different versions of the same object. So yeah, Kafka is a very useful tool. So I actually started saying this before. LinkedIn, it was a couple of guys at LinkedIn that created it originally. They spun off and created Confluent, which is the major producer of Kafka right now, or major contributor to Kafka. It can handle, or it has handled in LinkedIn's environments, trillions of messages a day. It can do quite a lot given the right resources. It's very scalable. The concept is you set up a zookeeper, and a zookeeper has many brokers underneath it, and each set of brokers. Thank you for the follow in Extremis 2883. Thank you for being the 300th follower as well, according to the stats on my dashboard. So yeah, LinkedIn uses Kafka still, I believe, and Kafka is a very powerful product. So yeah, okay. So what we're going to do here is we are going to start listening to the topic. Yeah, Kafka can deal with quite a lot, and it scales very easily. So what this is going to do is say, okay, I'm going to create a consumer process. I'm basically, the idea is that I'm starting with here is each topic I want to consume, I'm going to consume on its own thread, so that I can deal with multiple at once. I have done this in a production environment, and I've got 12 processes running at once, constantly monitoring for topics, and there's no lag there, so it works pretty well. The libraries I'm using for Kafka here, by the way, are provided by Confluent, so it is a very supported product. although the .NET version is a little bit behind. Yes, thank you for the Discord reminder, Ancient Coder. I did forget about that. Okay, so we should consume this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to store it. So we just need to decide what our product is going to look like in our storage models. So here, the product, let's see what it, for manufacturing, the product doesn't really care very much about the name or the description. It just cares that there is a product and how many it's made, right? So we're going to create a new product, and it's going to have marketing ID, right? I think marketing has 2 T's, but I'm not worrying about spelling right this second. And we have, let's give it a name just to track it, and then we have public. Let's say public int in stock so let's call that available, and then manufacturing. Now, what this might do in a full DDD world, this wouldn't look like this. This would be broken out across many different pieces. It would be, the process would begin when marketing said, "Hey, can we start manufacturing this?" Right? There'd be a whole suite of things that happened. I'm trying to condense this into one sample program, right? But as far as the product's concerned, this is what the manufacturing thinks about a product, right? It doesn't really care about its name or its description or who it's targeted at. It just needs to know that there is a product, right? And I've labeled this marketing ID because this will be the actual ID that we attach to the object coming in, and you'll see that in a second. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and say using storage product equals manufacturing dot storage dot models dot product, right? And then I'm going to do this, and again the name doesn't matter. The marketing ID is going to be the message dot ID. Did I not put ID on there? Oh, message.value.id, sorry. Alright. It will create its own ID, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay. And available is going to be 0 because we haven't manufactured any yet. Manufacturing is 0, right? Because we haven't started manufacturing yet. Okay, so now we go up here and, well, let's just verify. Manufacturing is set to go to manufacturing database, so we go up here, go to properties, and now we're going to start manufacturing as well. All right. So product development starts, marketing starts, then manufacturing starts. And there's a reason they're going to start up in that order, is just to make sure that things are they're not connected applications. They could start up in whatever order they want to. Just from if I've accidentally added a message or something, I just want everything to start up correctly, otherwise I could end up out of sync. It's more of a development issue than it is an actual production issue. So there are no menu options here right now, right? Well, it should have consumed something. So let's try. So we go to marketing DB and we publish a product. All right, and we know that we published I think we did eggs are cooked, right? And then we insert that one and we publish that. Did we start this? Did we have a failure? Start listening to topics. Consumer process for product. Marketing products. Yeah. We should see. Oh. Don't know why you become a consumer. Oh, something went wrong there. Okay, so let's stop this running. Let's add this back in. So this starts up and it should be the manufacturing group and it should start listening on marketing products. That should be the topic it consumes. This is only in here because, yeah. Token. Oh, should have we get Kafka. I copied the settings, so it's not like the settings are problems. Okay. And yes, this is C#. They were serious. Let's adding a list. Let's not add a list products yet. Years. Async await stuff's been in. It's not very easy to use. Still something I'm not wholly comfortable with, but this is a guy writing back in 2012, so it's been in there for quite a while. I can't remember which C# version. Okay. So this should start up. Let's just start it up on its own, just to make sure. So when this consumer starts up, what it should do is register that it cares about the topic. And it's not doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop running. I'm going to assume that things aren't working quite as well as they should because I've kind of screwed around with things. So I'm going to delete the topics. Alright, which gets rid of the messages. I'm going to delete the consumer offsets. Alright, it should reset consumers. Right. What that allows me to do is start from scratch. Right. So I need to delete some databases first as well. Marketing database goes. Product development database goes. Doesn't matter, these will create them the first time anyway. So manufacturing doesn't really have anything to do yet. Product development is to add a product. So we're going to add a product and we'll call this spatula. Thing to flip things in pan. And its kitchen is the category. And this will turn around, it will add the product, so we'll have a database in here in product development called products, right? Spatula. And if we go here now and do list, we'll have kitchen spatula, right? So that made it over here. The Kafka message was consumed. We should have a topic, products, right? There should be no messages in this one yet. But there should be one message in this one. And we should have two consumers, manufacturing and marketing. Marketing. And manufacturing is not subscribing to that topic. Let me figure that out. I don't think I'm misspelling that. Marketing products. Thank you for the follow, Silky Sinatra. Appreciate it. So we're gonna end up with, why are you doing what you're doing? So the way these work is, the idea is that it can create a consumer and then run in a tight loop. I mean, it could be, well, not token dot is cancellation requested. They just run, say consume, and then keep going, right? What you can do on these is put a time span dot. You can put a time span on there, and what it means is if there's nothing to consume within a certain amount of time, it'll just kind of move on and try again. So you can technically this should live in here, and then it'll give it a break a little bit. But yeah, this should consume though. This should begin a consumer process. There's no weights missing from this because I use it in marketing, and marketing works just fine, right? And there's configuration valid. They both go into the same thing. Now, because the application starts up and goes to this topic, right, and starts listening, that should be good enough to listen. Right. We don't need publishing, so that's not a problem. So let's just start all three up again and give it a go. So in our marketing system, if we list products, we can copy this, we can go to publish, we can paste that in, we publish. Yeah, we're not consuming it in the we have a message, but we're not consuming it on the other side. That's the problem we're trying to overcome right in a second. And it's telling me that it's broken because this is not populated. This is populated, so it's keeping track of offsets. It's keeping track of where it is in the current topics. Okay. So I've just got to figure out why. Okay. Yep, that's fine. The name shouldn't have anything to do with it, because the name should have, well, it created the topic, which means the name's fine. And when I hit consume, it should start that process, and then this is a list of tasks that is then passed to the wait all to hang up the program and wait until I'm done, which is where my failing with the cancellation token is going to come in. But it should at least consume in the same way that the marketing system consumes the topic. I mean, let's just... It's the only difference. So async task, products on message, configure product. These are all right. Publishing, marketing products. Manufacturing. Technically, all that matters here is these two, right? And they're identical apart from those two strings. So let's move on. I don't think this has a bearing. So the idea here is I'm unioning the console process, which when it's hit start, it runs in its own thread to keep the console running just in there, just to wait on all the tasks, but that shouldn't really matter. The only thing I can think of is the name. But it publishes to the topic just fine, so why would it not work? Unless it's not consuming this. Oh, that's why. No, that shouldn't really matter. The collection name doesn't matter on this one. So when I'm doing consumer process, right, I'm passing in the topic to listen to. So it doesn't really matter what I call the object on the input side. It only matters what I called it on the publishing side. So I'm not trying to get the name there. Okay. So let's add a menu entry just to list the items in our database, right? So private static async task list products. This is going to be again the same thing as over here, right? It's going to be, let's do this, might as well. List products, and the product is going to have ID. Let's remove that from there this time. Products as a name, available. Thank you for the follow. Visibly twitching. Manufacture. Product dot manufacturing. Pulsar event store. I have not. Event store is one of the things that's on my list of I want to investigate, and as I dig more into DDD, event store is probably going to be the one I start to look at. Sorry for the microphone knock. This isn't an attempt at DDD. This is an attempt at kind of showing what how Kafka's publishing messages back and forth and whatnot. List products. Mention Javis especially beat down a lot on Kafka. Okay. I mean, the thing I'm using it for, Kafka is perfect. I'm not using it for a domain system. I'm using it for literally a data publishing system. I haven't watched any of his talks. I'd be interested to see why, or hear why. So if you want to provide any links, that'd be perfect. Again, my actual use for Kafka is to publish data for many systems to consume. It's not really to create the pipelines that I'm creating here. I'm only creating pipelines to kind of demonstrate each piece, publishing messages and consuming them in something less than a bland A to B demo. But I'm not trying to infer events necessarily, more data transferred across the system as it relates. He's very knowledgeable, plus he embodies sarcasm. Yes, sarcasm always makes people easy to watch. A sense of humor. Okay, so let's just go in here. Let's set this as a startup project for right now because we're really focused on manufacturing. No products, that's fine. There is no manufacturing database created. So it's just not giving me that thing. It is not subscribing to the topic. You're going to error, that's fine. No, you're not. Thank you. I will take a look at them.
So,
top 10 tips for failing at microservices. I've queued them up. Yeah. Microservices are essentially what these are trying to do, I suppose, or they look like. It wasn't actually as I intended to do it initially. I just thought it'd be a good way to break it down and show the data moving between the pieces as they become topics and they then become objects themselves. So that's why I'm aiming them be in different databases here. List all products. I'm thinking that what's happening is this is erroring in some way, shape or form. So I think what I consume here, no, what I publish here is this. What I consume here is this. That's fine, that's fine. I wonder if it doesn't like consuming, I bet it's that. But that's what it is. I bet it doesn't like trying to consume an object ID. If you don't like a project that your boss wants and you want to sabotage it, I would never advise doing that. Unless you're really confident that you're not getting fired. Okay, so manufacturing. Yes. Oh, it consumed it this time. Okay, so the manufacturing piece, the problem was that in my product here, I had object ID because I just copied the object across from what I published. Kafka doesn't know how to consume an object ID, and JSON isn't going to understand how to deserialize an object ID, so it's failing. So, yeah, product just needs to change to a string, which is still fine. It still can be treated that way. 1 second. Okay, so it consumed that message. I'm not sure why the topics aren't. Oh, there we go. It's finally bothered to show up. So the problem there was it didn't know how to deserialize JSON, object ID using JSON. So now I have a product in there, and if I go over here, I can see that I should have a manufacturing database with products, a marketing database with products, and a product development system with products. And each piece has different pieces of data, right? Different perspectives of the data. They all represent the same thing at the core. And if I was thinking about this from a distributed design, I'd be putting more attention as to which pieces of data go to which places, what's necessary. But yeah, okay. So now let's make our retail system also consume that, right? And we're gonna unfortunately copy and paste a lot of stuff again because it's not something I want to waste time on writing all the boilerplate stuff. So we're going to start listening to topics, we're going to configure, we're going to get products on message consumed. I'm going to do all of this again. For the purpose of this demonstration, there's a lot of copy and paste. Okay. So we're going to go consumer, go models, storage, and models. And the consumer here is what's going to be published from here, right? Obviously not making the same mistake I just made. I have product, so we're going to consume a product, and we're going to store a product. This can be string, this can be string, and the marketing ID will help us correlate the two together, because our IDs stored in our individual databases, these actually wouldn't matter as long as we have a correlating ID published, right? So the ID of the marketing system is the one that they all line up off of, maybe. Because again, the marketing system doesn't need to expose the product development side, but the marketing system's ID is what changed the retail and the manufacturing together to know that this product is the same thing and there's availability of the product, right? So the product there. So that's our product. Let's do that. Let's include our reference to our core library. This is just a basic menu thing that I created just to try and tidy up the loop of get input, offer options, etc. Can include our core process options. Again, this is not a complex piece. This is just a wrapper around the Kafka consumer to try and give myself a little process that I can create a new task and listen and consume a topic on, and wrap up the configuration stuff. And we're going to copy app settings again. And again, if there's any questions or problems with what I'm doing, feel free to ask or to point out any potential issues. This is going to consume marketing products. This is actually the first time we're going to consume two processes ultimately, but we'll start with the marketing products so that we can consume them and get them in place. We're going to need our store. So physical twitching, do you do anything like this? Have you used Kafka or a messaging platform like in Service Bus or something? I'm going to create our storage product again, so I need a product in here. And a product from this perspective, I have to actually put the actual name of the property. We need to know let's say we do need to know our marketing ID, right? Not yet. Reading up a lot on DDD, so it's on my list of things to dip into. Yeah, DDD is one of the things I'm going to focus more on in the upcoming months. I've done a lot of stuff with DDD in the past, but not really focused on how to properly design a system around the concepts. So event sourcing and microservices and proper domain design is going to be event storming. Yes, I was actually the year that I can't remember the guy's name right this second off the top of my head, but event storming was kind of Bertolini? No. Either way, I was at a conference in New York when there was kind of a lot of talk about event storming. When it was still kind of fresh. It seemed like a really interesting concept. And talking of yes, Andre. Greg Young was there from Event Store, and Eric Evans was there at the same time. So it was quite a meeting of minds. It was quite interesting to see. So here we have int available stock and public decimal. Yeah, it was good. Got to go out to dinner with Eric Evans, which was nice. Cost, public decimal, price. So again, I'm obviously not providing most of this information. I'm not trying to provide a lot of this information right this second. I'm just trying to make sure that there's something to represent that they are different things. Storage product equals retail dot storage dot models dot product. All right. And here we're going to do this. And we're going to do, we need name in this case. We definitely need a name. Public string name, public string description. We also care about the SKUs. Enumerable SKU string SKUs. We don't care about demographics because that's not who we care about right this second. And this would be product dot available stock and price. And obviously the company selling the thing would actually tell us how much it was going to go for, so there's a whole lot of things there that if we were going to analyze this as an actual workflow, that we'd want to do way more with it. So we're going to consume marketing products for right this second. We're going to prove that we can consume those pieces. We're going to then list the products that we've got, so we're going to store them. So back up here, let's add retail into our list of services. Okay, so that's our 4 pieces. App settings, we have retail. Let's see if we actually store the marketing information, or whether I've screwed that up. So marketing, manufacturing, retail, we have a product. Right, so if we go here, So I didn't do anything else but to start this up, right? So I started it up, it consumed the topic, and it got the data. That's one of the benefits of Kafka over other messaging things, is because it's distributed logging rather than messaging specifically, the messages are persisted, and you just have a pointer to a when you last dealt with a message. So that if you wanted to have 2 weeks worth of data and you wanted to spool up a new system that consumed that data, you can write a new system and then say, okay, consume the topics, and it will go and consume 2 weeks worth of data before it's even, done very much. That is one nice thing about Kafka. It's pretty simple to do. Okay, so we should be able to follow this right through. Okay, so we should be able to go from product development to marketing, marketing to retail, and manufacturing. All right, let's go. So let's add a new product, and we'll call this a rubber duck, a yellow duck, and it's in the category of toys. All right. If we list our products, we have a rubber duck in marketing. So now let's configure a product. Right, so we're going to do 1, and then we want to configure our yellow duck. We enter a product ID, target demographics, children, SKUs, default, right? So we can list our products, make sure everything's good. We can publish our products. Let's publish our rubber duck, right? Just to prove. If we go here, no other products. If we go here, the spatula from before is the only thing. We can enter a product ID. That should publish the product ID. We go here, we now have 2. We go here, we now have 2. All right. So these 2 endpoints both consumed that message that was produced from here. Thank you, Will. Long time no see. I hope everything is good with you. Hope you're taking care of yourself. So we have 4 tools. Same old. That's can be good. Okay. So now let's add our second consumer to our retail. So retail, we need to add a publisher to manufacturing. Manufacturing needs to publish when it's created something, and retail needs to consume that and show availability of a product, right? And this kind of branches into the world of this is events, right? And if we were using Kafka for this purpose, it starts to kind of cross the lines of what is distributed logging versus what is the eventing system, or more messaging systems like End Service Bus, or like Mass Transit, or others, RabbitMQ. Okay, so we're going to publish our a manufacturing thing, right? Now this is not going to be a data object pure up, right? Because it's going to be, we manufactured some products, right? So let's create publishing. This is going to be, what is this going to be? This is going to be It's where it gets difficult as a design, because what am I actually publishing here? I'm publishing availability. I'm publishing actual products, right? Physical products in this instance, right? So let's go and let's create this as stock, right? And this will have public string marketing ID, which will be our correlating ID. It could be a line item. Again, I'm trying to avoid making, ultimately this would be an event, right? Because it would be inventory available. It would be, shipping. Yeah. Yes. And that's kind of where I'm trying to avoid. I'm not trying to apply too much of a domain here. More of there's 4 pieces that are kind of linked by the data they have in common and the data they have in difference. I'm kind of teetering on some lines. So this is going to be int amount. That's going to be available, right? And in our program, figuring out the ubiquitous language is a very, very important step. You don't figure that out, then everything is more difficult to work with. So I'm going to do a new menu item. What am I in? BB? Name equals produce inventory unselected produce inventory. And let's just move this down to where we consume. So what we're going to do here is say console.writeLine how many to produce, right? And what we're going to do here is I keep doing console writeLine. Console writeLine. Okay, and then we're going to store it because we've got to update our object, right? To say we've produced something, and then we're going to produce. We're going to publish that we have stock. So let's enable our publisher. Right. And this is where you really do get into that design, right? That domain-driven design stuff, because what you're trying to identify is the actual workflows that happen between these things. If you've broken down that these are individual subdomains, the individual, MacBook Pro 16, I think Pad X1 for CS major. don't think it matters these days, whichever one. I mean, the ThinkPad X1 is going to be cheaper for more equipment, I would imagine. I haven't looked at the current pricings. If you're just starting, welcome by the way, mate Zool. If you're just starting the CS Major, then I really don't think it'll matter very much. Hi Fear the Developer. I am making a prototype application to demonstrate using Apache Kafka. My habit of fully reading the name of everyone that comes into the channel has paid off. Yes, true. I would imagine you get a lot more bang for your buck with a ThinkPad than you would with a MacBook. It might not be used very much. There you go. So it is a messaging system used, or a distributed log system used or created by LinkedIn, or some people at LinkedIn, and used heavily in their backend systems. You can find lots of documentation on how it's used. It's very good for distributing data, and they do a lot of it into the trillions of messages a day, I believe. WPF playtest launched last night to connect to a no backend for games while playtesting. Nice. Nice. Okay, so we're going to store. So first we need our product. Actually, we need to find out our product first, right? So list products. Console.write to produce. Working on a Xamarin app. Very cool. Xamarin's one of the ones I'm having fun with bindings. Yeah, I've liked what I've seen from Xamarin over the years. I've just never had the time to sit down and write anything useful that I would want for a mobile app. var product ID, right? And then var product equals store.get storage product. P goes to p.id equals object id.parse product ID. If product not equal to null, my TypeScript was kicked in there. Oh, I don't allow for it to not be null. I would allow it to crash if that happened. So first we need to say product. So we're going to do store.update, and then we're going to do p goes to p.id equals object id.parse product ID, and then we're going to do builders. It's getting much better. It wasn't available for use, but now IMS has taken it. It's improving. Yeah, I went to the first MonoConf when they were kind of just working on what Xamarin became. That was an interesting time. F goes to. Am I marketing here or am I manufacturing? I'm manufacturing. Oh, because it's storage product, not that. F goes to available goes to quantity. Hey Synco. I'm building a proof of concept application in Apache Kafka with to demonstrate some of the concepts. And I am basically creating an application that sends messages that pass data between these four systems without each system knowing about the other system. Did a lot with Mono back when Monogame was just getting started. Nice. Yeah, I haven't done anything with gaming stuff. Yeah, it's going along. It's not the greatest demonstration of an application, but it's doing what it needs to do right now. So we're using Apache Kafka with MongoDB to store the data. This is all the instances are in Docker containers, so that I can just drop it all when I'm finished. And the link I used to get Kafka up and running inside of Docker made it very simple. No Kubernetes right this second. I'm just using Docker is still a black box to me that I've kind of learned how to start instances in, and not done a lot of studying on what all the differences are between Docker and Kubernetes and things like that. Nice. I'm glad you're taking something from it. That makes it worthwhile. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to publish, and this is from manufacturing, right? So manufacturing, we are going to publish stock, right? So we're going to publish new stock, right? The topic is going to be manufacturing stock, right? Am I in the wrong? No, manufacturing. The challenge when you're moving between many projects that have almost the exact same structure, you could end up copying and pasting the code into the wrong piece. No, I'm not trying to create a domain model as such. So this is just, the idea is product development creates a product, marketing takes the product, sets some extra information on it, publishes that product, manufacturing listens to that product, and retail listens to that product to kind of set it up as available. And then manufacturing can produce the product, which creates stock, which the retail product can consume to say that it can sell things. When it sells things, if I'm being accurate about this, manufacturing will listen and marketing will listen, right? And manufacturing can dwindle its stock, and retail can publish that, and marketing can get the sale and do all sorts of things. So again, this is just a proof of concept application to kind of go through some processes. It's primarily focused on Apache Kafka messaging. It just so happens to kind of represent something you could wrap up neatly and put a label of domain on it. So available, so we have our marketing ID, we have the inability to type and just randomly smack at keys. Available is going to be our quantity, and marketing ID is going to be our product dot marketing ID. Oh. So what I'm looking at there, no, these are not Dockerized. I'm not Dockerizing these. That should be, oh, because I didn't await it. Okay, I didn't await this one. That makes more sense now. Your internet's getting flaky. Ouch. That ain't good. Marketing ID is an object ID, and I'm just going to two-string that for now, and let's see how that goes. It's amazing, you leave out an await here or there and things start going really weird. So this is going to allow us to produce inventory, or stock as I've called it. So now if we start them back up, right, we'll see manufacturing. Now we have produce inventory, so let's go there. We have two products. Let's produce one of these, and we're going to produce, let's produce 10 of them. And then list products, we have 10 available ducks. If we go over here now and refresh this, we have manufacturing stock as a topic. Oh, that's not good. Alright. We have retail as a consumer of marketing products. Retail as a consumer. Marketing is a consumer of products. Manufacturing as a consumer of marketing products. Okay, so we have 10 available ducks, and yeah, I have a significant bug in there as well, but I'm not going to go back over that one. For right this second. That. Okay. So now retail in our consumer we have available. All right. We have available stock. So we now need to consume available stock on a product from somewhere else, right? So we're going to have var stock equals new consumer process null. We need stock, and again I mentioned it earlier on, but Apache Avro is a layer that you can apply. It's a tooling that you can apply to Kafka, which will allow you to distribute schema. So the messaging objects I'm passing around here are right now I would have to kind of create a file to say, hey, here you go, here's the message that you're going to consume. If I change this, you're not going to know about it until I do it, and then your topics are going to be completely broken. With Avro, you can version the schema, you can produce a schema, you can just say, hey, get me the current schema off of this topic, and it will give you the information you need.
So great.
Okay, so we're gonna go with, what's it gonna do then? Oh yeah, still pulling up another window on. Okay. Okay, so we have a stock object, right? So that's produced from manufacturing. All right, now we're just going to take that object We're going to move it into our consumer models here because it is a consumer model on this side. And there we go. And we're going to need that configuration again. Again, this is not necessarily how I would write the system. It's not the cleanest. Yeah. Let's write that properly. Stock on message consumed. Okay, so we're going to have private static async task stock on message consumed. This is going to be the message of null and stock message. Okay, so in this instance, we're not going to store stock. 1 second. I am going to take a quick break. I will be right back. I'm going to run an ad because I might as well. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to run. Thanks, Visibly Twitching, if you're still around. I appreciate it. Well, not a robot. Okay. So this is the retail program, right? What this is going to do is it's going to see if it has the product, right? Now, one thing you can't deal with one thing you have to deal with when you're dealing with messaging systems or distributed systems of all forms is the concept that you might get something before another message has arrived, right? So imagine a world where my retail system is down and my marketing system publishes that there's a product, and the manufacturing system gets it, and the manufacturing system turns around and says, yep, there's 50 of those items available right now. The retail system might receive the message that there are 50 of those items available now before it receives that there is an item. If I consume that message, I'm acknowledging I've got the stock, but I've got nothing to apply it against, right? So I've got to consider that these messages may come out of sequence. It may not be a problem. It may not be something you have to panic about, but it is something you should consider when you're doing messaging pieces. And this is kind of one of the goals of this stream, is to kind of demonstrate this concept. So when I receive a message, we know that the marketing ID is our correlating ID, right? I should turn around and say, okay, well, var product equals store dot get. We just learned this mistake. And we're going to look for storage product, and this is going to be p goes to p dot marketing ID equals message as object ID dot parse message dot value dot marketing ID. So we're going to check if we have it, right? If we do, we're going to update. If product equals null. If we don't, we're actually going to add it, right? So idempotency is what I'm talking about here, I believe is the right word. Applying an operation once for applying it multiple times is the same effect. Okay, maybe it's not. Basically, I'm going to get this object, and because I've not seen it before, I'm going to create the object. But if this message then comes in to tell me about the object, the product, I now need to update it rather than whatever. So you have to deal with this in your design. So I have to allow for nullable things, and this is where NoSQL databases really become useful, because you end up with the ability to store values without worrying about constraints, etc. Right? So in this case, I'm going to just put available stock equals message.value.available. Right? And that's going to add my product. Otherwise, I'm going to do store.update, and this is going to be storage product. Actually, store.update. P goes F goes to F dot ID equals. SQL Server could have worked. Yeah, there's not necessarily that you can't use SQL Server. It's just it makes it a little easier if you have to deal with, sometimes SQL Server, you set it up so that you have columns that are not nullable, that are nullable. In this instance, you have to accept that there could be defaults, right? So in the games DB, release year, manufacturer, and name are null, although they shouldn't be. If I was dealing with these as messages, then they might have to be null, because I might just have to insert a record as a placeholder for what's coming afterwards, on the assumption that it would be available afterwards. Issue design that matters there, right? So in this instance, what I'm dealing with is I might receive a message saying you have available stock of this before I have. Yeah, and what I want to do is here, a piece I'm missing there is I need to do that. I need to also make sure that my ID that I correlate on is also populated. Otherwise, I'll never find it. And I just create new products all the time. Right. So this will be marketing ID, because independent systems can't know about the ID. Each system has its own version of the data right this second. You need something to tie it together, and that's that marketing ID. And we're going to update it. And we're going to create builders, storage product, .update, .set. And in this case, we're just going to set available stock. So F goes to F.available stock is going to be message.value.available. And then find the right number of closing things, await that, and there we go. So if we have the message, if we don't have the product yet, by the time we get told about the stock, because again, if the retail system was down at the point this all worked, retail could start up and consume the topics, but it may consume the manufacturing stock before it consumes the marketing products piece, right? So that's what this is dealing with. So I now need to deal with that here as well. Enter boilerplate. So if you're using SQL Server for this, you could deal with it. It's not like it's a problem. You just got to make sure you understand all the consequences of the data, the potential for messages to come out of sequence. It's just a case of being careful, right? So if product equals null, then we're doing this one. We're going to set description equals to message.value dot this. What did I put on there? I did not put. Huh? Where is this coming from? Which system am I in? This is retail. Retail should not be. Retail should have name, public string, description. Hold on. So from marketing, I'm going to publish the storage product. Right. I'm going to consume I don't care about that. I might care about that. I don't care about that or that. In retail. So we're going to have name equals message.value.name, description equals message.value.description, SKUs equals message.value.SKUs. Right, so if we consumed the stock first, we would have set available stock, but we would have also set this when the extra information when we needed it. Otherwise, we need to update all those fields. So I'm going to copy this. This way it gets a little messier because this is not going to read right. We're going to update. We have to update all of those things. So name. Give me name. Set f goes to f dot description message description brain work. Okay. F dot SKUs is message value dot SKUs. Well, let's go with that for now. Okay, so we're gonna say we're consuming these two things, and here we need to do stock dot consume manufacturing stock token. Right, so we're going to have multiple threads consuming the messages, so it might be that this starts as well before, right? This consumes its message before, even when I start this service up. So we have to be prepared for that scenario. So if we go and look at our stack here, we have one message in stock. So this is going to start up. Retail products should update, right? All things going well. So retail, list products 10. So we consumed our message. We have 10 of that one, right? So I broke this the first time, so we're going to go through again and add messages in there. So we have retail, manufacturing, marketing, and product development. So we're going to add a new product, and its name is going to be, we're going to manufacture water bottle. Can you tell what I just looked at? Bottle, it carries liquids. category sports. So when we add this product, our marketing system is going to see it. We have a water bottle. Right. Enter. We need to configure the product. Right. So let's configure the product. Target demographics. Sporty people. People who like drinking water. Enter SKUs. Small, large, bigger. And then we need to, so just to show, we list our products here, rubber ducks. We'll list our products here. We haven't shown the name, but yeah, we got 2 products there, 2 products there, 3 products here, 3 products here, right? We're going to publish the product, so let's publish the ID. Right, and then we go here. We'll list products. We've got 3 products. List products here. Fail. Oh, produce inventory. This is manufacturing. No, retail should have produced it. Retail should have consumed that one. Almost a perfect demo. Marketing products. We obviously got it because manufacturing got it, right? So what you'll see now is if manufacturing to retail is working, we're going to produce inventory of the water bottle. Right, so how many to produce? 100. Right, if we go here now, we have 100 of these things available, but we don't know what these things are. We have 100 water bottles available. So this to this is working, this to this is failing somewhere. Oh, no, we are consuming it. Marketing products. Marketing products. I might be doing the same thing as I was doing before, doing some object ID stuff. So I think the concepts are showing themselves, right? If I go here now, retail, refresh my list, I have 100 of these things available. In marketing, I have 3 products. I have, in my product development, 3 products. In my manufacturing, I have 3 products. For water bottle, we have 100 available, right? We might store how many we want to manufacture so that we hit a limit, and then when we get a message saying one's removed from stock, we have that. We have the ability to manufacture more, right? Any questions or problems with what I'm doing so far? No? Take it on between everything else. Okay. Hopefully it's making sense. Well, it's a distributed console app, technically. All right. Good, good. That's the goal. So let's figure out why marketing products isn't being consumed properly. I'm developing this purely as a demonstration application. There's no intent to build this as a product. This is more of a, I need to show this concept to one of my teams, and it's a way to put it on here without showing any proprietary information. And it's something I did want to cover on a topic anyway, so it kind of killed two birds with one stone. But yeah, you could put interfaces on these. If you consider these microservices as such, right? You're distributing the system across 4 different pieces here. They all have their own database. They all have data that relates to them. They all share concepts, but they all have their own behaviors and actions. You could put UIs on these things. You could put all sorts of things on, and have it work just as cleanly. What Kafka gives me is the ability to send this data around without worrying too much about how these products interlink. So I'm concerned. So the marketing, the manufacturing system consumed the message just fine. Right, so it went here and consumed that topic just fine. But actually on that topic, Will, if I was developing this system for real, I probably would consider developing it this way, because you can develop all the components of the system that talk to other things. You can develop entire pipelines that work without worrying about how it's hooked up to the UI, right? So if I wanted to know that a product had become available, right, and I'm sat in the retail system, I could hook up SignalR in my website, and when I got the data saying this happened, just trigger in the consumer, just trigger a SignalR action, and then tell my client, hey, new product's available. There's a whole lot of possibilities there that are worth exploring. And Kafka does give the ability to pass these things around. So like I said, in the use case I'm working with this in, I'm publishing data that is just data. There is no event attached to it. There is no action attached to it. It's just data. From that data you can infer many things, but it's not necessarily a purpose of the system I'm developing with Kafka. Yeah. Okay, I want to fix this one thing. So why does retail not consume the product event? Now one of the benefits here as well is, if I run this again, right, so what this isn't dealing with is well, now it is dealing with idempotency, right? Because I can consume a message that says, hey, here's an object, right? Here's a thing. What that thing means to me is down to me to understand, not to the system publishing it, right? So they're not saying, here's a new product. They're saying, here's a product. Deal with it how you will. Right? So if I go to marketing, and I want to publish the sports water bottle, right? Retail does not consume that message. Now, manufacturing might have done. Right. There's our problem. Oh no, it's listening. Marketing is listening. It is listening to marketing products. It has an end, it has an offset. Right. What you can do is in this tool, you can go in here and say, set my offset to 0. It's consuming it, it's just not handling it properly. So let's see. Let's go put a breakpoint on here. Let's do that once more. It updates it pretty quickly, but it doesn't consume it. Marketing products. No, you're good. What do you mean? What did you want to ask or discuss? Yeah. Bit longer than a month now. I've kind of refocused myself in the streaming thing. I've taken up doing karate, so I've changed my stream schedule around that, and getting more exercise is giving me a bit more energy. I'm streaming 2 days a week through the week and on a weekend oftentimes. So the streams are more manageable, and we've kind of covered topics that have been really quite fascinating to cover. So not trying to limit myself to one project all the time, kind of going with what has been interesting to both myself and to the stream as a whole. Trying to signal beforehand what we're going to work on. This has worked really well. This evening I think has worked really well in terms of what I've done. I set some code in motion before I did the stream so that I wasn't getting bogged down in the basics of the configuration. More, here's the things coming together and doing the things. Right, that helped me. So yeah. Yeah, refocusing, getting some exercise, getting some extra energy in there has helped. We were trying to stream every day at one point. I was streaming a lot. I still enjoy the streaming part, and I probably would stream more, but I think it wasn't healthy because I wasn't getting enough stuff prepared. Hey Link, welcome. Yeah, I'm happy that quite a few people have stuck around as well. It was a nice big raid from Lana, and yeah. Yes, I was doing about 4 to 5 days a week, and it's not. I think it's healthier, the balance now. Yeah, we got over the 300 follower mark, and had a good raid from both Michael Jolly and Lana this evening, which was really nice. I do think that prepping for this was worthwhile. So I think that with some of the streams I want to do coming up, such as introducing. So one of the projects we've worked on has been this project, which was tracking my games collection. I'll put this in dark mode because it's a lot of white. We introduced logging in with Auth0 in this project. We did interaction with an API called IGDB, and yeah, there was a lot of work that went into this, but I think this was worth it. This was a good project to work on, to talk about, and then we open sourced the basics of this application. But there's things like moving the core of this over to PostgreSQL to put in more advanced search techniques as an experiment. That's one thing I want to do, but I think I want to prep that first and get that lined up so that I know what's going to come with that. And then we still work on the pet home project, but we move that to 1 day a week, and we focus on it as need be rather than pure focus on that project and nothing else. So a good healthy balance, and trying to prep the streams has really started to pick up some. I think the problem with me is if I get stuck on something, I feel like I am not doing the right thing by the stream, and I kind of get irritated and shut down. So, but then in the same, I won't end the stream because it's not necessarily the best thing to do to say, okay, I'm done now, and walk away. If I know I can dedicate more time. So yeah. How are you, Link, by the way? More homework. Crunch time. Fun. Okay, so this is not... Okay, so this should be creating new objects, that's fine. This should be independent. I'm better at programming C at least. Good. Awesome. So let's just check. Actually, that's a good point. I just did that without checking. Let's set the retail project a startup. I don't think the retail project starts quite the way I would think, because if I go to Kafka here, this consumer process, I don't think this blocks, so this should move on pretty quick. What's T value? This is product. Is it blocking and that's the problem? Let's do it this way. Time span dot from milliseconds 50. You're not going to notice a 50 millisecond gap, right? Okay. Why do you not come back? Am I missing an await somewhere? Poll for new messages blocks until a consumer result is available or the timeout period has elapsed. But it should start them on different tasks. So because this is retail should start up and consume both topics. Right, that's my plan there. Had to reload stream. No worries. Thank you for consuming ads again. That's what happened. So we get the topic, marketing products, right? We should hit there twice. Why don't we hit there twice? This does not matter one little jot. Why do we not hit into that consume twice? Hold on. Why is it? I've got a feeling I've structured this really weirdly. In my mind, what that should be doing is starting up two separate tasks that will run different threads, right? Because the task that runs I'm not awaiting this method. They should start separately. And even if they're blocking, they should start. I should hit this twice because I should hit in here from outside. Do I hit outside twice? Does that make sense? What I'm trying to... I get here once with marketing products. I get here twice with topic. I get there once with marketing products. Oh, there you go, manufacturing stock. Okay, so I don't get there. Do I get there? So we got them. That's fine. We got here once with that topic, twice with that topic. So we got to both the consumes. We got in here with marketing products. We got here with manufacturing stock. We got here with stock and product. We got a stock message. We got a product message. Done with the weekend project. A modal window with Blazor. Wow. That was a weekend project? You have to like some of the challenges C programming brings. Yeah. Okay. Week. Okay, fair enough. I'd say that's your productivity puts us all to shame if that's just a weekend project. And you did other things like eating. Nice. Okay, so I think what's happening is This is erroring. I think one of these is it's throwing an error. And because it's all asynchronous, it's kind of been hidden underneath, and it's not getting to let's see what happens if we restart, because the fact that it consumed messages even though it shouldn't suggests it's not committing the topics, and the fact that this topic has a 2 offset but the end is 4, so there are 4 products in marketing products, right? So we go here, there's 4. The offset in here is 2, so it gets 2 in but doesn't process. Right, so I'm thinking what's happening is an exception is being thrown, and because of the way this is coming together, the task is hiding it. Did most of the Electron work this weekend? Oh, sorry. Thank you for the follow, Taco Bandit. Okay. So I think, let's see how far we get. We're getting here, we're getting here, we're getting subscribe. We consume, we await on a message which is throwing a null reference exception. Consumed. Oh, I'm an idiot. I refactored it, and I shouldn't have done. When you have a timeout, or it looks like when you have, either way, I want to say consumed not equal to null, because what will happen is move back into TypeScript land. This will just go up, nothing, and just return, so it can carry on and give it a bit of a breather. So by checking that, I'm going to make sure I can get in here. Let's see if that changes behavior. So rather than you know, test through that again, I'm just going to start it up again. Let's see if that changes anything. We got a message consumed. We got that come in. Let's go see if we got the product. That error. I think that errored. It's still saying 2. So let's run that. Let's go in there again and see if we can't find it. You know what? Actually, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to delete the topics, run all the projects again, start from scratch, because once you start to get into a bit of a funk here, you end up with data in bad places, because, you know, I changed some of the messaging around a little bit. You know, I did those sorts of things. So let's just reset that, and then let's delete consumer offsets. I'm really happy with how Docker's working out for this, by the way, because it is making my life a little easier, knowing that they're Dockerized and I can just bring them down afterwards and not worry about them. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's see how far we get. So we have retail. So we have retail, and manufacturing. Let's move that over a little bit. I gotta spend some more time learning more about Docker, you know, Kubernetes, all those sorts of fun things, and really start to kind of Dockerize. Like, to Dockerize these would be kind of fun, right? And again, Docker's not very good for Kafka. Using your local machine for Kafka is not a very good idea. It's made to be a distributed system. For development purposes, when you're dealing with this sort of messaging, it's not too hard, but yeah. Okay. Want to see some Dockerfile stuff? Check out that project. Yeah, I might do. See how much I understand. So we're going to add a product. This is going to be called, oh no, we need to delete databases before I do this. delete the database, retail, marketing, delete the database, marketing. Now, having a system like this, there is one major downfall, right? If you lose a piece, you can't necessarily recreate it from everything else, and it won't make sense in the context of the overall system. So if one of your designs is to go through figuring out which pieces need to work together. With Kafka, again, you can actually hold the last 2 weeks or 2 months if you have enough space, and it will when you start your instance up, it will consume all the messages and reconstruct a whole lot of data, which is useful. But if you lose an entire system, if you're building an entire system on it without database backups, you're screwed. So backups and that need to be considered as part of your strategy when you're dealing with distributed systems. I used Docker and OpenShift to work. New work file broke Docker for desktop. That was fun. That's funny you say that, because I installed Docker at work the other day, and it kept telling me that my Windows version wasn't compatible, but it's the same version as this machine. How did it break Docker for desktop? Rubber duck. It's a duck. It is rubber, and it is yellow. Category toys. Okay, so now we have a product. We can go to our marketing department and list our products. It's a duck, it's rubber, and it's yellow. Let's get our ID. Now let's configure our product. Right? We have one product. Target demographics. Children. SKUs. Small and big. And then we have no products here. No products here. Let's publish our product. Okay, let's list our products. List our products. Our retail does not want to consume that topic, does it, at all? Retail. Marketing, manufacturing. I wonder if it's an ordering thing. So let's quit that one. Alright. Let's start retail back up now the others have been established. I don't think it should deal with the ordering that way, but we'll find out. Call the network service to crash because it's messing with its network calls. And it does. I've got I've had other tools installed, and Docker was working last week. It just now says it doesn't support the version of Windows. Products. Manufacturing, retail did not start at all. So the marketing, manufacturing, and product development systems all ran fine. Retail did not start properly. Okay, so let's shut that down. Because of the way this is working, retail does have messages to consume, right? Because there's products in marketing and manufacturing stock. Doesn't have any, but that's fine. We don't need to deal with manufacturing yet anyway. And then the biggest challenge here is the one concept I'm trying to show is the one that I'm trying to get around right this second. Products on message consumed. Let's see if we get here. So let's set retail as our startup. Start this up. Oh, there we go. We have a message, and that message has a value. It's a duck, so we get it. Okay, so I think the problem is we're going to have a failure here. There we go. There's our failure. So our problem is actually that our ID, I bet our ID isn't coming through. And because we have this, by the way, this means that this message wasn't committed, and that means that this is not going to update our offset because it hasn't actually processed that message yet. So let's wait until we get that breakpoint again. Okay, so our marketing ID is null. That's what our problem is. Okay, so the problem is we're not producing the correct messages. Right, so when we do our publishing, we have development ID, not marketing ID, right? When we consume, we are not developing. That's not a development ID. That is our marketing ID. So we have a problem with what we publish to what we consume. If I call that, right, because I'm just publishing straight out, right? I have two options here. I can go and create a more accurate message, which is the best way to do this, because what I'm publishing is not necessarily what I'm storing, and what I'm storing is not necessarily what I'm consuming. Right, this development ID is the development ID we stored so that we can track anything against this marketing ID back to the development system. This ID doesn't need to make it further forward, right? So let's create a publishing. Right, let's copy this, publish product. We will name it that just to be clear at this point, right? That's not for any other reason. Let's remove these pieces, right? We know we need SKUs, we know we don't need target demographics, right? We know we don't need development ID, right? We do need marketing ID, right? This is what we need to consume in retail. So our retail product here is now going to be a string because we're consuming this. We can't consume object ID, and we now need to change manufacturing, right? And this is where right, again, we don't need that, we just need this, because that's what we're publishing. Yeah, I can guarantee I did the same thing then, as I looked away. Okay, so they should work the same. The code should compile. Okay, so that's now marketing ID. Again, the object ID doesn't deserialize, so we can't use that, so that's fine. So that's why we're doing the conversion there. And we'll be using the marketing ID there anyway. Okay, so let's wipe it out once more and go through the process and see if we can't add a product and see it hit all the places. Okay, I'm so confident. I'm going to take my breakpoints off. I'm going to go back here, widgets arrows, apply. If anyone's interested in this code, I will put it up on GitHub, but it's not, again, it's not an actual project, it's not a product, it's just more if you're interested in seeing how this actually came together. I will share it. Okay, so we have product. I gotta turn the dart reader off for this. Product development, right? So we develop a product here. Retail is our final goal. Manufacturing and marketing, right? So just to verify everyone's good. We have no products, no products, no products. Let's add a product. And we're going to manufacture a keyboard. Letters, numbers, things. Equipment. Okay. Now we can list products here. We have a keyboard. List products here, nothing. List products here, nothing. Okay. So let's configure a product. Let's grab our product ID. Apparently copying doesn't work. Target demographics, people who use computers, enter SKUs, standard, 10 kilos. Okay, and then we're going to publish the product. So again, you might want to configure the product, you might want to set things up, you might not want to just say, hey, here's a product, this is the information that everyone needs to know about until you're ready. So you publish the product, now we go here, we go here, we go here. No, you're not listening anymore. I broke something again. What did I break? Oh, I know why. I didn't clear these out. So what's happened is the objects are processing, but now they're broken because the original sets are still okay. Product development. Let's do this properly from clean. When you're developing, this is common in my experience so far of Kafka. It's just the nature of the beast going through all these things. At work we have a development system each to work off of, because this takes, you don't want to have, you know, your teammate producing messages and, you know, you're consuming them and failing because your code doesn't look the same. Okay. Let's try this one more time. Again, any questions, any concerns with what I'm doing, feel free to raise them. Okay, so our product, keyboard, typey thing. Category, equipment. We have a product, right? Manufacturing shouldn't have a product. Let's configure the product. Product ID is going to be. My best bet is that I have an ID that's going weird. Something. People who type. Default and 10 kilos. Publish the product. You do not want a list, do you? So products publish 1, marketing products publish 1, manufacturing stock. So marketing products did publish, right? So 1 is published, but it didn't work. Set a start project. My best bet is to figure out if it's getting there. Or my best guess, not my best bet. There we go. Let's see what the message looks like. Message looks like value. Marketing ID is null. There we go. Our problem is the same. Oh no. So where I publish it, we're still publishing storage product. We didn't change to use the published product. Right? So new published product. Again, what you store doesn't have to be what you publish. What you publish does not have to be what you store. So we're going to go with name equals product dot name. Description equals product dot description. Marketing ID is product dot ID here. SKUs is product dot SKUs. And there are no other fields or category. Product dot category. Right. The category might matter going forward. It's whatever. So now we're publishing that. Well, let's do this once more. And if I was doing this for real, you know, me and my team would be discussing the messages, we'd be discussing the design, the behaviors. We'd really be planning these things out with much more detail than, you know, 3 or 4 hours before stream and whatever's been done on the stream. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to publish that. We already know we're going to consume that, so let's give it another try. There are free tools available, so if you're going to use this in production, you can't. This tool is not free. There are some by Yahoo actually. There is the Yahoo Kafka Manager tool. I believe Confluent do their own tool, but again, that's Confluent Enterprise, and that's going to cost money. So let's try once more. Retail, manufacturing, marketing. Let's add a product, and the product is going to be a success. The best product you can buy. Category winners. Alright, so let's list the products. We have this. Let's configure the product. Enter the target demographics of everyone, and the SKUs simple and advanced winners. I know. Okay. Okay. Publish the product. Paste that ID in. We hit. Do we have a value? Do we have a marketing ID? Yes, we do. Let's just assume it's going to work this time. So let's see our products, list products. We've got one there. We've got one here. There we go. Okay, so both manufacturing and retail consume the message from marketing. When we added the product, marketing consumed the message for product. These two consume the published product. Now, which one? Retail has 0 available. Manufacturing has 0 available. When we produce inventory, I say that word weird sometimes, so that's why I repeated it. We insert that one, and we're going to produce 100. Now we list our products. We have 100 available of this product. If we look at our database, we should have 4 databases: manufacturing, marketing, product development, and retail. At retail, we have, and here we go, the name, the description, the available SKUs, simple and advanced, and then we have 100 available. So we have a message that gets consumed by marketing. Marketing produces a message that is consumed by manufacturing and retail. And manufacturing produces a message that is consumed by retail. Retail combines these 2 messages to become one object, right? It's data, it's different perspectives of the same object, right? Now, if we did a sale, right, we sold something, a sale topic might be produced, and manufacturing and marketing might both listen to them. Let's say manufacturing is keeping track of inventory or something. That might decrease inventory by 1. When it gets to a certain threshold, it might stock more and produce more. Product development might receive a message once marketing has updated on the sale that there is some demographics to deal with or whatever, right? To understand from future product development perspective. All these things are possible. So I think that's a good demonstration overall. If that doesn't sound conceited in any way. Is there anything anyone would like to see me do with what I've done so far? Again, Kafka has consumers and producers. Would your services have a shared DB? Not necessarily. If they are independent, no, they don't have to have the shared DB at all. They could do, like, you know, product development and marketing might live in the same world together, potentially, but, you know, they could be different perspectives of the same thing. I created this to be more of a, like, there's definitely clear lines between the things, right? But, you know, going into that in more depth would really be an exploration of a domain and how would you handle consistency when a new service starts. So what do you mean? Oh, you mean if I needed all the data? Because the other system hasn't consumed everything. One can't handle. Yeah, okay, so from a load balancing perspective first, both if I start up 2 manufacturing processes, they'll both be under the same group ID, right? So Kafka will see them both and say, okay, I've got a message, hey, you take this one, hey, you take this one. It will actually handle that for you, right? So both of them would not consume the same message. From the data perspective, from the data consistency perspective, I think that's a challenge of the overall design. One of the things I'm doing right now is writing tooling to export a database into objects that can then be consumed. So basically I use the same code that I would use to publish, to produce the objects ready for publishing, and then instead of publishing them, I serialize them as JSON and then literally import them into the target system right now. So that if you needed to get up to scratch from a good point in time, the data's there. If you're using event sourcing, that's not possible. What you're going to do is take a snapshot, and that's going to be your aggregate as it stands right this second, and then start eventing from there on to produce updates to that aggregate, and then store the instance every now and then. So yeah, Kafka will deal with a lot of the scale out for you. So you can scale these up to deal with multiple messages, add as many as you want into the consumer group, and that's here, right? Earlier on, I don't know if you missed it, I basically said when I copy and paste these, I need to be careful about this group ID. If I specify the same group ID and two services were meant to be in different groups, but I specify the same group ID and they consume the same topic, only one of them will get it, right? So from that consistency perspective, you just need to make sure you're setting the right group IDs. One of the things that saved me here, or allowed me to reconsume the messages when I had an error, was this. Not committing when I first consumed the message helped me get over some issues and allow me to see those things happening. If you're confident that once you've consumed nothing can go wrong, then you can consume immediately, you can commit immediately. But until it hits this, it won't register back with Kafka until the offset has moved forward. Okay. Is there anything you would like me to add to kind of flex it out a bit more? Or are you comfortable with it? Would you like the code committing to GitHub? It's up to me. Well, to me, this was a throwaway project. Right. Well, no, you're not going to do that. To me, this was a project that was just aimed at making a demonstration out. So, if no one wants the code, I'm not going to go through the effort of committing it and cleaning it up and putting it up there. So, I will make this VOD. I will download this VOD though and upload it to YouTube. Okay. Okay. So one last recap. We have a program that publishes data. In this case, this one is our first one, right? This publishes a product. Create graveyard and GitHub project. Yeah, here's a load of projects that are dead. I think I've got like too many of them as is. I should create a new GitHub account, TBD developed, and just drop them in there. So publish is literally is very simple in Kafka. And you create a producer and you produce the object, right? And in this case, I'm just using the name I pass in or the name of the collection if it's there, which ultimately gives me the name of the object. But this was just template. This was helper code just to tidy up those pieces a little bit. This stuff you could have in your actual code. I was just cutting it down a little bit. We publish the message, and in our consumer is our retail is our most complex consumer, because two messages update the same object with data, because it takes data from two different messages and has pieces stored there. So yeah, I think we're done. I think this was a successful stream. Thank you very much to Michael Jolly and to Lana Lux for the raids. Thank you to all who stuck around, because we kept quite a high number of viewers. Thank you for my new followers and for getting me over the 300 follower mark. And I will be back on Tuesday. Yeah, that was really cool. Lana helped me hit a milestone. So yeah. But I will do more of these coming up. And yeah, thank you. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll resume with some pet home stuff. And yeah, I'll say goodnight. I should raid. There's 21 people still with me, so I keep forgetting about that. Who would you... Well, only Tim is in the team online right now. So keeping it in the team, which is fair, being that Lana raided me, I will send you over to Tim. Thank you all. And let me get the name, make sure he's not going off. Don't think he is.
Damn, son. Damn.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.